Good afternoon. I am live and recording. This is Pat Mayer from rainy Akron, Ohio. Yes. I'm going to make an easy lattice fun fold and a DSP envelope. That's what it says. So welcome. Let me know if you are here. Got my little welcome mat out and my Stampin' Up! Website. If this is your first time visiting, I would love for you to leave a comment, leave a thumbs up. If you are on YouTube, I would love for you to subscribe there. And let's get going. I don't see anybody here yet. Oh, Shirley, hello. Okay, that's something else just popped up on my screen that I thought was somebody viewing and said, no, it wasn't. It was just a text message. So I forgot to put my phone on silent or airplane mode before I started. So my fingers are crossed that nobody calls. I've had a couple little crank calls today. So hi, Shirley, welcome. And I have a lot to show today, so I have pre-done much of what I'm going to demonstrate. And oh my goodness sakes, things keep popping up. Move my fingers out of the way here. All right, so first of all, finally, it seems like it's been forever, but we are at the end of February. And the end of February means that we are at the end of celebration. And it will not be back again until next January. So there is still the rest of today and all of tomorrow to grab something or get some of those things that you've been wanting and still be able to get something for free. Excuse me, I should not be drinking carbonated beverages while I'm demonstrating. Hello, Ellen, welcome. So it is the last day for this catalog, and as far as I know, the only thing that has been sold out, I did not look today, is the Dainty Designs designer paper. And then the next thing to promote, hello Francine, welcome, is a promotion that will be starting on Wednesday. Do you believe it's going to be March 1st? And I believe it's going to come in like a lamb because it's supposed to be near 70 on the 1st. So I hope that doesn't bode for a end of the month when it might go out like a lion. So we'll have to worry about when we get there. I talked about this a few weeks ago because demonstrators could pre-order this. These are online exclusive products that we were able to order during the month of February. Hello, Sue, welcome. And I believe there will be more items offered starting Wednesday as well that we don't know about. But the Irresistible Bloom Suite Collection has been available for a month for us. I will be using one of these embossing folders today, this crosshatch one. And these don't have real names. They're just called Basics 3D Embossing Folders. Now, just because it says that these are only available online, that doesn't mean that if you don't order online and you work with a demonstrator or with me as your demonstrator, that you can't order these products. You can go there and look, but the reason for that is our purchasing, I don't want to say options, but maybe that's a better word. Our purchasing options have changed so much over the last few years that we just want instant gratification. So we go online, we order, and it appears on our doorstep. So that's why these are called online exclusives. They will not appear in any catalog. This one has a beautiful stamp set, gorgeous paper. So I'm pretty sure that I'm going to be showcasing this next week, and the dies that go with that. So it's going to be an exciting time. We are also to the point where we have 2 months left for this annual catalog, and also March and April for the mini catalog. So I know that there are going to be some changes coming, and there will be probably some new colors, a color refresh. So that being said, keep that in your mind, and I will move on to what I'm showcasing today. So let's get that off to the side and out of the way. And I have already done the embossing folder for this, so I will put that out of the way too. But anyway, a few weeks ago, I saw something online called a lattice card. Now, a lot of demonstrators, non-demonstrators have shown this, so I'm not going to give any one particular person credit, but if you go online, either YouTube or Pinterest, you will surely find options for how to make this card. And it's not that I don't want to give people credit, it's just that there are so many other people who've done the same thing. So I'm just going to jump in there and be one of those. And what I'm going to use today is the Sending Smiles stamp set. Hello, Rose, welcome. Sending Smiles, which is a wonderful for these sentiments on here. And by the way, this one, as we're talking about the annual catalog, this one is currently still as a bundle, and it can be found on page 14 in the annual catalog. Hello, Nancy. Welcome to Monday. So once something is introduced in a catalog, it's bundled, you get the 10% discount. When it stays around and is not retired and is in the next catalog, that bundle pricing goes away. And that is the case with the Daffodil Daydream that I'm also going to use today. It's in the current catalog, the stamp set and dies. It's on page 21. It's a great stamp set for Mother's Day, Easter, all those spring holidays that are coming up, or just to celebrate spring. So that's why you don't see the dies listed here or anything as a bundle. The dies then are in the back of the catalog on page 170, and you can see those there. So that's the bundle, non-bundle type thing. But the reason I wanted to pull this out was yesterday I was out and about. It was chilly, it was cold, but it was nice and sunshiny. And I saw crocuses in bloom. I saw daffodils ready to bloom. And I also saw pussy willows blooming on a tree. So let's hope that any bad weather that might be coming isn't going to ruin all of this early spring that we're having. So that's what made me think about pulling out this Daffodil Daydream stamp set. So let's talk about the lattice card. Okay, for this you need a piece of basic white cardstock. I don't know, you probably could use another color, but I'm going to decorate it anyway, so I want to use the white. Basic white cardstock that is 4 1/4 by 11, and it is scored and folded at 5 1/2. So that's like our top fold card. I also have another piece that I'm going to use that is 4 1/4 by 8 1/2, And this is where I have used the embossing folder, that new little crosshatch one. So I've got that. I also have, and I'll tell you the reason why I'm using these. When I cut paper down to make it smaller, I have all these 1/2-inch strips left. So I'm going to be utilizing those today and also explain why. I have also cut out, just to save some time, because I have something special to show you at the end. I have also die cut the daffodils. I've got a couple of those. And the sending, I've already done that, but I do have one to show you, something kind of tricky on that will help. And these are, I guess, the big leaves that go with the daffodils. Now, with this Daffodil Delight stamp set, there are lots and lots of ways to use this that require some 3D, which I have not used in a long time, some 3D pieces with this. So if you have this set, you know what I mean about die cutting and arranging these to get a 3D daffodil. I'm only using what you see here on the stamp set that shows this and this. I'm going to use a brass butterfly instead of this butterfly. So this is what I'm using out of this stamp set today. Just the basic flat ones. Nothing that has to be 3D. So I will put that away. And explain this lattice fold, if you've not already seen it. All right, on this card, I need to cut off 3 1/4 inches. And that will leave 2 1/4 inches at the top. So I will grab my paper trimmer. And since it's already at 3 1/2, I want to leave 2 1/4 inches at the top. All right. Now I'm going to double check and make sure that that is correct, and it should be 2 1/4 at the top. Now, on the samples that I watched, they then cut strips 1/2 inch all the way down, and what was left was a 3/4 of an inch piece that's cut in half. But because I have all these extra strips that end up getting used for small sentiments and such, I'm going to use these. That gives me one whole piece here that I could use left over for something much bigger. So that is the reason. So what you end up with if you do it the other way is 5 strips of 1/2 inch and 1 3/4 inch strip that you cut in half, which basically is like 3/8 of an inch. So if you have a question, please ask about that, but I'm doing it to use up some of the things that I already have. So I can put that aside. Now, to make this, we need to hold it down, and I'm using some Post-it tape, and just going to put that here in the center of this. So that the sticky side is up, because I have to adhere these down. I'm also going to take another piece to hold this down at the top so that that top flap doesn't pop up. And then another piece, and these can be used over again, another piece at the bottom to hold this down. And this is just like temporary sticking. Now I did this with some old retired washi tape, and I found the washi tape, unless I stuck it to my clothing and got some of the sticky off, that it tore the paper. So I'm using my Post-it tape. I love the Post-it tape. You can get it on Amazon, office supply store. It's great. All right, so now with these 1/2-inch strips, I'm going to create the lattice. And I want to start at the bottom. And because these are longer, I will be cutting them off. But this way I'll know that they are exactly the 1/2-inch. I'll cut those off later. So I've got one at the bottom. Let me see if I can zoom in here. Let's see. Let's do the whole, get rid of my face and use this and zoom in a little bit. How's that? All right. Now I'm going to come up here to the top and put the next one. And you want to leave a little bit of a gap, because remember, a lattice has some space there. So I've got 2 of the 5. Okay, let's come down here and do another one at the bottom. So nothing's permanent yet. So I can adjust the amount of space that's left between these. So let's come back up here. It's about an eighth of an inch. Because remember, 5 1/2-inch strips were cut off, and then there was a 3/4 of an inch strip left over. So I've got 4. So let's do this 5th one here. So now it looks like I've got some extra space to play around with. Okay, they look pretty good. I don't like that one down there so much. Let's put more space between them. So I hope you had a great weekend. As I said, we're heading for some really good weather this week. And then I thought it was going to stay in the 40s, but I heard the snow word maybe by the weekend. So March is one of those months where it just kind of fluctuates and we have to live with it. All right, so there we have that. Now, I played around with this a little bit, and rather than use the 3/8 inch of that 3/4 piece that would have been left over from this piece, I'm just going to use a 1/2-inch strip. I think it looks fine. It's only an 1/8 of an inch difference. And part of that's going to go up here. Here's where I want it to be straight. Now I've not done anything yet with glue. But I do want to kind of look to see how much space I want to leave on each side over here. Now don't let this part that's sticking out kind of change your perspective on what I'm doing. So I'm probably going to leave about 1/4 of an inch on each side. I want enough room here to create my design and also be able to stamp a sentiment in there. So now comes the fun part. Once I know where I'm going here, I'm going to add just a dot of glue on each one of those little lattice pieces. Okay, I guess I can't talk while I'm concentrating. Having the grid paper really helps too. Okay, so let's do the same thing over here. And just add a dot of glue. So now remember, I'm putting a dot up here at the top on the part that's being held down. Let's find one that looks a little bit better. And I have some wiggle room because that one's a little bit higher than the other one. All right, so before I take all this apart, I'm going to take my large, very large acrylic block and just set that on top while I do the next step, which should be pretty fast. So I've got this large die cut of the daffodils and then one of the smaller ones. I have two smaller ones, but I really don't need that one. And I'll just do some quick coloring with the Stampin' Blends, and I have Light and Dark Daffodil Delight, and I have Granny Apple Green, Light and Dark, and some Old Olive in there too. So let's do the flowers first. And let's see, let's do the dark first around the edge. I usually have all of this done ahead of time. But this is an easy color. And I'm just going to make it easy. So I'm just going around the edges with the dark, and then I'll blend with the light. Okay. So let's color those in real quick. So for this, I'm using the brush end, so it will go a little bit faster. I didn't actually figure out exactly what I was going to do today until today, so I don't have a lot of extra samples made with this one. I'll try to get some done during the week and post them on the Facebook page. Okay, so there's that, and let's get some. Okay, I have a tendency to put the wrong cap on the blend. So I'm going to go ahead and do this one too. This is a little bit smaller, and then fill in with the green. But I will tell you, I am ready for spring. I'm sure everybody is. Not that we've had a super, super bad winter, but I guess the older I get, the more it just seems to drag on forever. Thanks, Nancy. Yeah, I want to make sure that that's dry before I take all of that apart. And then once I get this done, the rest of the card is going to go together pretty darn fast. Okay, so that takes care of our yellow. Make sure those caps are on nice and tight. And now, let's see, I'm going to use, maybe I won't use the old olive here. Now I'm just going to use some Granny Apple Green, because this is just so bright and cheerful. Especially since it's ugly outside. I have not been upstairs for a bit to see if it is still raining. I think the weather radar said it was going to stop around 3 o'clock, so it could be that it's gone now. I hope so. Oh, there's a bud there. That also needs to be yellow. I'll come back and fill in with that. But I could not believe when I saw the crocus in bloom yesterday. Let's see, I am using the light one on here. So I will add some accents with the dark Granny Apple Green. What? Ellen, 6 to 11 on Friday. That must be what they meant, that we're going to get a little bit of snow coming through here on the weekend. I've not looked ahead. That's come up very quickly, which, yes, good weather for making cards. That's right. Rochester, wow. These storms are just popping up all over. Here in Northeast Ohio, we got lucky with whatever went way north of us with that last one. I think it was called Olive. Then there was another one called something with a P. Forgot the name of that one. My sister was asking how my granddaughter was doing. She's in Southern California, close to San Diego, but I think all of that bad weather there was up in the mountains of San Diego. So I don't think she was affected by that. I didn't get a chance to ask her because I know she had a busy weekend, and she's my weather girl anyway. Maybe she could answer some of those questions. All right, so let's see. We finish this up here. Who just doesn't love daffodils? When we see daffodils in the store, we know that spring isn't that far behind. They've come from someplace that's nice and warm. All right, so there's that. Oh, I forgot to color this other little bud that's not open yet. And actually, I think that bud is probably kind of green anyway, so we'll make it yellow. Oh yes, we get lake effect snow here. We've been fortunate this year that we haven't had too much of it, but we can get some really nasty lake effect snow from Lake Erie, and really not that much further north from me, they do get it more. All right, let's take the Post-it tape off of here. Put that aside because that can be saved. Lift this up. This is all dry now. And take this piece off. And now let's get some paper snips with this folded and closed, and snip off the bottom. I find for me this is more accurate than putting it on the paper trimmer. Okay, here we go. Now, another part of this card that I've seen, as I said, in various places, obviously with all of these little holes in here, you don't really want to write here. You could write up here at the top. I've also seen it where you could put another piece on the back or right back here. But this is the reason for having this card to go on the inside, so that you have more options to write here. Now, if I put this piece, which I said was the 8.5 by 5.5 in here, and try to fold it, it's going to buckle a little bit. It's also going to be a little bit too long. So I'm going to pop this in the trimmer and take about 1/8 of an inch off the top, and let's see, when I'm doing it like this, I kind of like to start in the center because I have already embossed it, and I want to make sure that it doesn't pull, because I think I'm almost close to having to replace my cutting blade. So that little bit, along with a little crease of the bone folder, should give the effect that I want for in here. Let's see if that was enough. And also fold it down. So yes, that works. So in a minute, I will glue this to the back here, and then it can open up there. Now let's decorate. So this one is going to go on the inside of the card. That's going to go in here. This one is going to go here. And then with this, I actually thought of adding the bunny rabbit. So I might make a sample with that bunny. I don't have the bunny punch, but to make it an Easter card. But this is going to be a card that's going to say comfort and strength. Now, this is a little bit too long, so I'm going to snip this off. Remember, you can deconstruct or do whatever you want with your die cuts, because that's too long and I don't want it to show at the bottom. But I just wanted to add a little bit more greenery behind there, so I already cut those out. And let's snip some of that off of there too. Now, another thing you need to watch out for with this lattice is adding dimensionals, because I'm going to pop this up. But I don't want to add dimensionals to this. Okay, so let me get these added here. I think they'll work okay. And to do that, I'm just going to add a piece of tear and tape. And I'm not going to take that off, so I can maybe adjust this a little bit. Yeah, that'll work. So there we've got that. So now what I need to do is put this down here and decide where I need to add dimensionals on the card itself, not on this, because I don't want anything to go through there and stick on that. Okay, so I think I can put a dimensional here. I've got some minis as well as, well, no, I guess I didn't grab the minis. Okay, so I'll put one down here on that part of the lattice. I think I might need to cut one that's a little bit smaller. So let's put that there. Then I can put a couple on this fourth one up. Count my way up here. Okay, haven't really pushed them down yet so I can see where I'm going. And let's put another one here. And then I'll see what I need to add at the top after this is glued down. All right, so I want to add some little strips. Under these green leaves. And I can put another one under the daffodil because it's up over the top here. So I think, oops. Let's pull that up. I need a piece, just a piece. That was going to be too big. Okay, here's a piece I've already cut. Stick that behind there. There we go. It tore just a little bit, but I might have to put something else there. All right, now I have already mounted Comfort and Strength that I want to go down here on this piece of the card. Okay, so now you can't see anything behind there. No adhesives are sticking out. Let me grab my memento. Okay, sending is going to go up here. I've already done the sending. And then I want to put Comfort and Strength. So there's plenty of room up there to add this. Make sure it's going in the right direction. Now, this is what these little 1/2-inch strips are perfect for are sentiments like this. So I'm going to double check and make sure I've got a good image. Now the other thing that I could have done, oops, I can't, you're not in camera, was to stamp this ahead of time before I put that little piece down, but that works. So there's the sending, comfort and strength, and I can put, I'm actually going to glue this down, or shall I pop it up? I think I'm just going to glue that down. Oh, Rose, you will love this. Good. So I hope I got some good directions for you here. So there we have it. Let me add this part in here. Glue this down. And again, adding that extra card base on the inside is optional if you just have something short to send or sending birthday wishes. The sentiments in the Sending Smiles stamp set are just wonderful. Smiles across the miles, all the good luck your way, all going with that word sending. So let's add some adhesive to the back of this. And the next one is to make your own envelope. Make sure you're putting it in so that it's going to open the right way. And that there is a little bit of room left up here at the top so that it doesn't buckle. Okay, and as I look at this, some of my glue kind of oozed out over here, so a little dot wasn't quite good enough. It really doesn't show much. So there is the card, Sending, Comfort and Strength. Open this up. Open this up for more of a sentiment. Now, let's talk about an envelope. You know, I usually have an envelope made that or one of our Stampin' Up! Envelopes that I use some designer paper to put on the flap or decorate it in some way. Well, we used to, a long time ago, carry an envelope maker, which I was very upset when we got rid of it. But it was made by another company, and I think you can still find those out and about there. But this is so easy, and Lord only knows we have lots and lots of designer paper to use. So I hope you're laughing and chuckling at that term, just because it is what it is. We do. I've got more than I even want to say. But anyway, I did see this from, it's not a demonstrator, a gal from Australia. No, not sure she's from Australia or New Zealand. But anyway. I just happened upon this the other day, and I thought this is a perfect time to show this. To make an envelope for a card that we typically make, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, you want to double the width to find the size paper you need. So 4 1/4 is 8 1/2, and then you square it. So 8 1/2 square is going to make our envelope. The next thing you do is to find, and this is optional because you can eyeball it, but basically to find the center point of the paper. So that would be 4 1/2 down, or excuse me, 4 1/4 down, 4 1/4 over. If you've got some of our Stampin' Up! Grid paper, you can very easily do that because you've got a centering ruler across the top and along the side. So that makes it easier. Oops, I forgot to put that little bow on there and the brushed brass butterfly. So I'll come back to do that. So I'm going to turn this way. Let's zoom out again. I keep forgetting to look and see if I'm on camera. And I want this, isn't this cute? Because this is the lattice part, but this is, I'm pretty sure this is retired. If not, it will be. And fold it over to the center point. Find that center point, and I did mark a dot right here in the center. And overlap it just a little bit. So this is what you've got. And you can kind of look at the top and see if it's centered. So it's overlapped. And I don't think it makes any difference whether this is exact, because it's probably not going to be. But again, it's an envelope, and it'll probably get thrown away, but it's using your paper. Even my decorated envelopes get thrown away, and it just... Bye, Nancy. Have a good rest of the day. And now I'm going to fold this up just like you would a regular envelope. So that you've got that point there. And fold this down, but this isn't done yet because it is kind of bulky right in here. And this is one of the things that envelope maker that we used to sell would do, and punch out these areas. So basically what I'm going to do is turn this over where I can see this. Let's see, let's make sure that let's grab the bone folder again and give good creases. You could probably go with just this. Let's make sure the card's going to fit in there too. Now, if your card is bulky, okay, yes, it's going to fit and it's going to be fine. You might want to give a little bit more room. So let's use the bone folder. And now I'm going to turn this over because that's where I can see better, see my creases, and snip these little areas out. And that's what will make the card slip in better, take away some of that bulk. So I'm just going to snip those out. And voila, you have a very nice envelope. Now this side doesn't have as much of a cutout. So again, this is not precise, but it's going to work. The other side was a little bit bigger snip out than this. It's okay. And if you want, you can take your scissors and round the corner. Round the corner here too. And then I'm going to put it together with tear and tape. Okay, not liquid glue. And add some tear and tape to, I like to have a straight edge on there, so use my paper snips. And add tear and tape to those flaps that you originally folded over to the center. And you can also add some to the top and just not release it until you're ready to send the card. So I will go ahead and add this. Put it together and put that little bow on the card. All right, so that part's staying up there till I'm ready to send it. Pull off this release paper. Sometimes you need to burnish it a little bit more. Fold it up, and there's our card ready to go in the mail. So I had this little bow from the black and white gingham. This has stayed around for a couple years. I hope it stays again. I love the gingham ribbon. And add that to the card with a glue dot. And grab a brushed brass butterfly, it's like a tongue twister. And you really want to make sure that you get that little glue dot that's under these adhesive backed elements that we have, the embellishments. So we need a large one, we got a small one up there, or a medium one. Let's put one down here on how do you get glue off scissor blades? You know what, Rose? I use either alcohol or hand sanitizer, because I had to do that actually yesterday on these. So good question. All right, so let's add a little one right here. All right, there we go. It's always good to ask questions. There we go. We have our handmade envelope. We have rescued a piece of designer paper. I believe that can be addressed and go in the mail. And we're good to go. So have a great rest of the week. Those of you who might be getting some snow, I hope it's not as bad as predicted. I will have to look and see what we've got coming. But I know on Wednesday here, it's supposed to be near 70, unless something's changed. So go back to my face real quick. And I appreciate you being here. And Thank you all so much. Bye-bye.